What's going on, guys? So I already knocked out one gator and I got a second one to go, and I want to bring you in closer so you can see exactly how to do it in case you want to get on the grill this summer and don't be intimidated by a whole gator. So we got a beautiful large gator from Creole Foods. The first thing that you want to do to examine is your gator. So understand that this right here is going to be like jerky once you smoke it off. We're going to be rolling this at 275 on the grill. It's going to take about 3.5 to 4 hours from my experience. This is going to be my third gator cook-off, and I love doing this. This is a size large. I typically cook double XL to triple XL, but for presentation purposes, you're gonna see why in a second, is why I do it. So let the cutting board come to you. Don't work around the gator. You're in control. Keep in mind that the spine comes from the neck piece all the way down to the tail, and it runs straight up, okay? And this is gonna be some good meat, so you wanna keep that on there. The note is that you want to go ahead, I'm gonna slice it this way so you can see, is anything from the hind quarter legs down is what you want to extract. So again, as you can see, we're gonna let the tip of the knife do the work on the fillet knife. You want a nice fillet knife that bends, because the bend of the blade allows the flexibility to come around the spine, okay? So you can kind of hear, as I come around the spine, that tip of the knife hitting that bone. And I'm gonna use my fingers to extract. I'm gonna turn my cutting board and keep working on down. So from here, we're gonna come and make our second incision and run that blade paper thin on that spine. Listen, that's what you want every time. That's how you know you're getting a good incision cut. Turn the cutting board, work the gator, don't let it work you. We're gonna keep using the tip of our knife and our index finger to pry through that fat. And if you don't know what the fat of a gator looks like, you're in for a treat. And we're gonna keep going until we come up to our hind quarter, like we talked about. Perfect. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you have two beautiful bites of meat. And you can see paper thin, running my finger on the spine. And the fat of the gator is this white piece. These white intersections are a bite that you don't want. That's how you get that swampy taste. You don't want that. So we're gonna keep working our finger to pry that open. Some of the fat you can actually pull up with your finger, right? We can pull up with our finger. But we're gonna use that fillet knife and treat it like a brisket. Just go ahead and slice that fat off that tail. And I got bad news for you though. This doesn't turn into liquid gold, so you can't render this down, okay? You just want to throw this away. This does nothing good for you, and you definitely do not want that in your bite of your gator. Now, what I've done is I also have the tenderloin, which we're going to get to once we flip this over. I got 5 pounds that we went ahead and chopped into these nice chunk size tenders. And we're going to send that bad boy swimming in some grease, seasoned up with the groupies and crowd surfer. And for a nice sweet heat, I'm going to sprinkle some bass player once it comes out hot off the fryer. So this is going to give a nice sweet heat texture with a nice Cajun spice as well. So this is going to be very different. Tomorrow we have a big event for Sitka Gear. They're opening an Atlanta storefront at the Battery. As you can see, we're starting to pull off a lot of that fat. Some of it can come up with just your hand. And I'm gonna keep working the tip of that knife all the way through and come straight down. Come here, check this out. So you see we got a paper thin spine. You can see the translucent, I'm gonna mispronounce that, translucentness, right, of the spine, because we've extracted, this is how it was, right? Each meat, we got a beautiful, beautiful bite. Once this smoked, this is gonna be beautiful. And on this side, you can see we got a nice tenderloin, top of the tail. Excuse me, we got a nice fat piece of meat on the top of the tail. Now, typically people can stuff this with dirty rice, jambalaya. I'm gonna keep it simple, and we're gonna move over to the next portion of this fillet, which is the back end tail. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out the way. Toss this. So for this portion, I'm gonna open up the carcass And you can see it has some fat right here. We just want to go ahead and get this out. This isn't going to make a good cook. You can just pull this out with your hand. This is just extra fat. This isn't intestines or nothing like that. You want to go ahead and toss that. I'm going to take this and just trim up this right here. And now it's time for an anatomy class. So this is the fun, right? This is where the science comes back and play with the food. Keep in mind that that spine of the tail is still running all the way down. Anything from here is going to be jerky. So we're going to take the tip of our knife and find the bone. And once we find the bone, we're going to cut as close as we can against it. All the way down till we get to about right here. And then we're going to make an incision on the other side of the spine. Running the tip of our knife down until we free up both sides. So you can see right now we freed up that spine. Again, it's almost like filleting a fish. And from there we have a tenderloin. So come closer real quick. You can see the fascia that's locking to the outside rim of the tail. You can take your finger and literally separate it. Now we separated the tail from the tenderloin, and we beautifully extracted the tenderloin meat from the spine. So I'm just going to run my finger and free up this tenderloin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful piece of meat. So keep in mind, on the gator, there's two sides of the spine, okay? So with that being said, there's another tenderloin that we have to extract. So we're going to go ahead and again find the spine, run our finger along the spine to free up as much meat as possible. We see where that fascia was locked into the tail. We're going to run our finger on that. And this, ladies and gentlemen, will give us another beautiful extraction. Not as thick as the first one, but still a beautiful tenderloin. Just like that. So now we have one tenderloin and two tenderloin. And this right here is what you don't want. This is not going to cut it, so we're going to cut this out on each side. Stay tuned. All right, so this is what you call a fillet job. Check that out. So come closer. As you can see, we had the two tenderloins that were running along the edge of the spine. We freed those up beautifully, right? One tenderloin, two tenderloins. And then you can see, I mean, it's almost translucent, this spine right here. And we took off all the fat on the tail. This got pretty thin up here. So the fat, as I pulled it, naturally pulled this. And you can see all this right here is what you don't want to bite of. So if you ask me, this was the perfect extraction of this alligator. I'm going to go ahead and fold these tenderloins back in, wrap this back up, and we're going to go ahead and put this bad boy in the brine. So we're going to go ahead and put our alligator into this chest. We're going to go ahead and hit it with Crowd Surfer and Drummer Boy. Crowd Surfer is an exotic citrus blend with some Cajun seasonings. You can see this right here is going to go really, really good as our brine. We're going to let it rain in the Yeti. And then we're going to also add Drummer Boy. It's going to go ahead and lay some nice beats into this brine. This is going to have notes of rosemary, red peppercorn, and a buttered salt. You can smell it through the phone, baby. Let it rain in the Yeti. We're going to fill this up with water, throw some ice in it. We're going to let this sit overnight, and I'll catch y'all in the morning. Ellie's sister going to be named. We'll call her Gretchen. In the Yetis, locked and loaded. It's freezing cold outside. Gonna let these brine, and then we're gonna throw them on the Traeger 275 until we get an IT of 165. Talk to me nice, baby. Talk to me nice. All right, guys, it's a new day, and it's time to get Allie and Gretchen up off the Yeti coolers. They have been brining. Come take a look and see how it was doing. Ooh, you can see the onions have rose to the top. That's how you know this bad boy is ready to roll. They were sunk at the bottom, but again, we wanted that Let's shake this one right here. I love it. We wanted all that swamp juice coming off of that gator to kind of get extracted so that it's a good tender bite. So we brine both of these up again with Crowd Surfer and Drummer Boy. And now we're going to season them up with Crowd Surfer and the Keys. The Keys is going to give it some good flavor and produce a beautiful bark on that gator. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and season this up. See you in a second. Our second alligator coming through. I'm going to roll this on the second XL. Big enough to get the job done. This is what I usually smoke my 2X and 3X alligators on, no problem. This tray just allows us for an easy grab and go when it's time to transport this gator. I love how it's curled up because again, we're gonna put all our deep fried gator bites that we still have brining. Finna go ahead and soak those in the buttermilk. This is the one with the sriracha binder. So I'm gonna see one little spot that I missed, season that up. So we're gonna go ahead and spritz this Coke and Dale's marinade mixture. That's my go-to, get some nice coloration.